This is my flying machine today, Golf Charlie Kilo Whiskey Romeo, and this is my seat. Let's get in and start the engine. We need to remove the choke, and while the engine's warming up, we'll make some radio checks. Sure everything is turned on that needs to be. When the engine temperature reaches 40 degrees C, we'll be able to taxi to the start of the runway. Brake tests, engine tests, control movement tests are complete. Lights and transponder are set. We are now lining up, pre-rotating to 200 RPM, and when we get there, we can take off. Speed and rotor speed are building. The nose is becoming light. I hold it down with the controls, and now the back wheels are off, so we stay low, build up speed, and now we're climbing away. There's loads of spare runway in front, but we'll still fly straight till we get to the bend in the road and then turn right so as not to overfly the house that's on our right. We're now crosswind. If we were flying the circuit, we'd turn right over this piece of rough ground down there, but we are going to be continuing out to the west to minimise our nuisance. We will aim to cross the River Thames where the railway bridge crosses it. Let's update the altimeter to show our height above sea level rather than above the airfield, as going forward that will be more useful. Chilton Park airfield is well behind us. We've got plenty of height crossing the Thames. That's Moulsford to our left with the lovely Beetle and Wedge Boathouse restaurant. must go there, and Cholsey to our right, and Blueberry is straight ahead. And then we can jump ahead in the film to where we get to the A34. We're approaching the A34, which is a vast link road between the M3 and the M40, so it runs north-south. It was upgraded to its present dual carriageway form in the 60s, and I'm very glad to be flying over it rather than driving along it. Just over the A34 on our right, we see Harwell. This was formerly the Atomic Energy Research Establishment, which was established in the 1940s on RAF Harwell. It then became the Rutherford Appleton Laboratories in 1957 and was home to the Atlas Computer Laboratory. The Harwell Research Campus started in 2006 and is home to 180 researchers, and they have about 500 visitors a year. They have things like the Diamond Light Source, the UK Newton Source, the Central Laser Facility, the Electron Microscopy Centre. All in all, the complex employs about 5,500 people in 240 organisations. I've reduced height to get a better look, but the land here anyway is up to 260 metres high. Off in the distance you might catch sight of Wayland's Smithy, which is a Neolithic long barrow and tomb. But to our left there's the curious folds in the hillside, which is where we'll find the Uffington White Horse, and on top of the hill beyond it there's a prehistoric Iron Age fort, which is reckoned to be 3,000 years old. The White Horse itself is 110 metres long and is actually created in the hillside by digging a trench a metre deep and filling it with chalk. There is a very nice view of the White Horse. Now we can see the 3,000-year-old Uffington Castle, which occupies an area of about 7.5 acres. But anyway, let's continue our orbit around and then we will start heading off towards Didcott. As we're coming up on Didcott, first of all you'll see Chilton Park, which is home to a large distribution centre, and beyond that we have the remains of Didcott Power Station. It was a coal and gas fired power station, taking coal from Nottingham and then from Wales, served by rail. It was built in 1964 to 8, but closed in 2013 and was being demolished in 2014 when 3 of the cooling towers were blown up. As they prepared for further demolition in 2016, there was a disaster. Michael Collins from Teesside, Chris Huxtable from Swansea, Ken Creswell, who was local, and John Shaw from Rotherham lost their lives when the building collapsed. 3 others were seriously injured and 50 treated for dust. That's a great view of the 3 remaining cooling towers, which are scheduled for demolition in the summer of 2019. If you look a little bit beyond to the bend in the railway line, you'll see the Great Western Society's museum for steam trains that was opened in 1984. It's actually housed in the Great Western Railway sheds, constructed in 1932, and has 4 tracks going into it. If you love steam, it's well worth a visit. Okay, we're now coming back to Chilton Park. I'm quite high because that makes it easier to see, and I'll be flying over the top of the airfield and then coming back across to join the circuit. But to save you watching that process, I will join you again at 700 feet above the ground when we are turning on to the base leg and coming into land. Okay, we've now turned on to base and we'll fly along this track and then across the road and across the zigzag in the field, which is where we will turn onto our final approach. Okay, we're now on our final approach, so we just cut the power and let the plane glide down to the runway. When it's almost there, we will level out and glide along the runway a few feet up until the energy drains and it settles gently on its rear wheels onto the grass. Once it does that, we just pull the stick back and it will bring us to a stop very quickly. Safely landed, we can now trim all the way forward to take the weight out of the stick and then start to taxi back to leave the airfield. On the way we'll put the stick retainer on so you don't have to hang on to it. We will turn off one of the fuel pumps, turn off the lights, turn off the transponder, and generally start the process of shutting down and letting the engine cool. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I thoroughly enjoyed the flying and the making of it.